across her chest. What a glorious tushy. He searched for several minutes. Finally, shaking his head, the man straightened, dusted his hands against the seat of his jeans, and climbed out of the dumpster. What was he looking for? Was the poor cowboy so hungry he'd been reduced to pillaging for discarded food? Her heart wrenched, and her natural crusading instincts kicked into overdrive. Nothing captured July's interest quicker than a worthy cause. And this guy had cause written all over him in neon letters. Talk about a diamond in the rough. Despite his disheveled exterior, July saw something special shining through. Shave him, shower him, dress him in new clothing, and July would bet her last nickel he'd make a male version of Eliza Doolittle. He raised his head and squinted up at her window. Their eyes met. Startled, July jumped, lost her balance, and tumbled forward into the sink. Her elbow smacked into the liquid soap dispenser and knocked it to the floor. One leg flailed wildly in the air. Her breast brushed against the water faucet, accidentally turning the handle. "Oh, oh!" she gasped as cold water soaked the front of her sweater. Teeth chattering, she shut off the faucet and climbed out of the stainless steel sink. Muttering under her breath, she sopped up spilled soap, then stripped off her sweater and dropped it into the laundry basket outside the kitchen door. Earlier, before she'd spotted the stranger, she'd been headed down to the laundry room to wash a load of clothes before starting her 9-to-5 as a social worker at Hope Springs, an addiction treatment facility. Padding into the bedroom for a clean sweater, July kept thinking about the cowboy. He had taken her by surprise, catching her watching him. Their gazes had fused, and whoosh, for one brief second, they'd forged an instant connection. A connection so unexpected, it sent her head reeling. Even now, remembering his intense eyes, she felt slightly breathless. "It's the cold water, you ninny. That's all. Snap out of it." So why did she hurry back to the kitchen and sidle over to the window again? Curiosity, July assured herself. Nothing more. She wanted to know who this man was and why he was lurking in her alley. Curiosity killed the cat, July. If she had a dime for every time her family or friends had teased her with that phrase, she would be a wealthy woman. Satisfaction brought him back, she said out loud, inching aside the yellow lace curtains and peeking out. The alley yawned empty. The man had vanished. Disgruntled undercover detective Tucker Haynes swore under his breath and jammed his hands into his jacket pockets. Hunching his shoulders against the wind and tipping his Stetson down low over his forehead, he stalked down the alley. The trash his targets had thrown away 30 minutes earlier contained absolutely nothing useful to his investigation. Tucker smelled of garbage, and to top things off, some nosy Rosie in that upstairs apartment had been spying on him. He'd seen her for just the briefest of moments, but it had been long enough for Tucker to realize he'd been spotted. His impression was of a wide-eyed young woman with a short cap of sandy brown curls, big green eyes, and a small, pert nose. Their gazes held for a second, and then she'd disappeared from the window. Had he blown his cover already? If he had, his boss at the El Paso Police Department, Lieutenant Petruski, would be seriously pissed. Petruski had singled Tucker out for this special undercover assignment that had taken him over 200 miles outside of El Paso County jurisdiction. It was a hush-hush assignment. Petruski's pet project. Tucker's mission? Stake out the Stravanos brothers, who were trafficking in counterfeit passports and driver's licenses. They'd been arrested in El Paso, but fled after getting released on bail. Petruski had tracked them down to this minuscule apartment complex in Rascal, Texas, but the lieutenant didn't want to bring them in just yet.